Thanks, all here.
I don't see Steve. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, great. Okay. 7:04. I'd like to call the meeting to order, our monthly August meeting. And let's start with the pledge, if you don't mind. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm going to read our disclaimer here. The Board of Education approves the following resolution, whereas the state of New York, along with the entire nation and world, is in the midst of COVID-19, aka the novel coronavirus pandemic, a public health emergency, unprecedented in modern times, whereas on March 16, 2020, Governor Cuomo issued Executive Order 202.4, which suspended the requirements of the Open Meetings Law concerning Board of Education meetings, and whereas, as permitted by Executive Order 202.1, the Board of Education's meeting tonight will be conducted via www.youtube.com with no public participation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby suspends all policies pertaining to the format for this meeting, including Policy 1120, which provides for public participation and comment at Board of Education meetings. But we try to have public, are the best we can, public comment participation. So we, as always, for the past few months, did have our emails ready and willing to answer your questions. So we will go to that. I'm going to keep my opening brief because I want to defer to Dr. Siniak in a minute. I just wanted to welcome everyone. As we mentioned, 202.55, the governor's executive order issued on Thursday that we do have to meet. We are meeting virtually tonight, and I anticipate that in September, when we're all back in the classroom, that the board will be in the GPR meeting as well. We've been working very diligently with the reentry task force. The board has been in constant communication with Dr. Siniak and administration, and we had our president of our union, Ms. Sue Winkle, an executive session giving us an update, and we were doing that before the governor announced last week that we are in partnership with the parents and the faculty, and we can plan all we want, but no plan will be successful if we don't have the buy-in from the community, if we don't have if we're not being responsive to the parents and the students' needs. So I'd like to commend my board, my fellow board members, administration, Dr. Siniak, Ms. Winkle, all the parents that have been not only participating in these many re-entry meetings, subcommittee meetings, but also everyone that is sending in the emails, your questions. I mean, it's helping us really understand, get a pulse on the community, and we all appreciate it. I do. So thank you. We've been following the guidance from the governor, from the state, very closely from the beginning, and we are formulating and developing plans in accordance and compliance with all the guidance. With that being said, I'd like to also thank, as we mentioned, I think it was July meeting, that we were getting a donation from Dr. Bobby Colati, the chair of a philanthropic a healthcare organization called Friends for Good Health. They donated 4, not 3. They gave us an extra one because Dr. Siniak asked so nicely. They gave us 4 contactless, I don't have thermostat machines. So we have not only one for each school building, but we have one for the administration office as well. So, and that's gonna be on the calendar later on. So just wanted to thank Dr. Colati, who might be watching tonight, and thank Dr. Siniak for having a very nice reception for that group. They came, they presented the machines. It was in the Merrick Herald, and it was a nice write-up, and it was a nice day. It was something positive over the past few months. So we're happy about that. And before we go into Dr. Siniak, I think
routine approvals.
I'm going to defer to Dr. Siniak. We are going to have our 3 parent meetings. We scheduled that. We're going to have the faculty meeting. I urge all the parents to attend. The board will be participating, and I'm going to defer to Dr. Stiniak for your report, and if you could also just maybe mention the dates and times of the parent meetings again, even though a notice did go out very timely yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ryan, Board President. Would the board like to handle the routine approvals before I go into my superintendent's comments, such as the minutes, the
No,
warrant?
just go. We'll do that afterwards. You just go.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Welcome everyone to our August Board of Education meeting. I'd like to begin with saying that in March, when schools closed due to COVID-19, no one could have imagined the impact of this pandemic. The health, safety, and overall well-being of our students, staff, parents, and community are the driving forces behind all decisions regarding the reopening of schools. We have conducted ongoing outreach with our faculty, staff, and parents, and have taken their suggestions and concerns into consideration in finalizing our plans, and we will continue to solicit that feedback. Please know that school district administrators are not experts when it comes to health issues. We are relying so heavily on the medical experts and complying with the guidance and recommendations of the New York State Department of Health, the Nassau County Department of Health, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Most importantly, all of our decisions are made in compliance with the mandates and guidelines provided by the State Education Department and, of course, the Governor's Office. And finally, should someone in our schools test positive for COVID-19, we will comply with all of the reporting and notification guidelines set forth by CDC and the Nassau County Department of Health. All recommended precautionary measures will be implemented to mitigate the spread of the disease within our schools. With all of this being said, I've never been more honored to lead a community in such a crisis. How the community has come together has really brought us together for the good of the children and our staff and our community. With that being said, we anticipate in our planning for a full opening in September. Moving on. I'd like to give a big shout out for the donation from the Friends for Good Health. It was such a moving ceremony. And yes, we got 4 instead of 3. They came with 4 thinking they were leaving with 1, but we're so honored to have them. And after this evening's acceptance of the donation, we will conduct the training and we will start putting those to good use. So thank you, Ms. Ryan, for securing that for us. And it was a lovely day on a rainy day. Our kindergarten screenings have pretty much been completed. A big shout out to our principals for handling those, following all of the social distancing guidelines and making our students and our new parents feel comfortable. Surveys, this week our mental health survey went out. We are at about 375 responses already. So please keep them coming. Dr. Murphy's office is going through those and sharing them with our mental health team as stated in the survey. We will also be sending out another survey later this week to finalize what we had asked parents about a week and a half ago about their intentions for September, whether a parent will be sending their child or children to school, or will they be keeping them home for that remote virtual option. Our email address for questions was full of about 12 pages of questions. The FAQ document is now on our website for all to view. Please take a look at that. There's a lot of good information in there. But if you do have additional questions, please feel free to email me at cseniuk@nmerrick.org. Our principals are in the process of creating videos that will be going home to all parents, showing what some of the new things children will see in the schools, such as our signage, our water fountain bubblers are now off, what classrooms may look like. So please be on the lookout for those videos. And our principals are actually having a little bit of fun with them, so we're excited to see them. Our principals also sent home a communication this week about, due to the guidelines, we will be keeping twins from or family members within a family in the same grade, in the same class. We are cohorting our children. We are potting our children. We do not want our children to commingle as per the guidelines. As many of you may know, I've been in close communication with Miss June Smith. She is in charge of our aftercare and before care program, and we are working diligently to get this program at full capacity, as normal as possible, without commingling the children. We had another phone call today. She's gathering those numbers for me, and we'll be working with the principals to select children's classes so that we are not commingling those that are attending, and working across all 3 buildings. So more to come on that. Our principals will also be giving out further parent communication about arrival and dismissal procedures, supplies, materials. So more to come on that next week. The dates of our parent community discussions about reopening: August 17th, we will have a morning session at 10 o'clock and an afternoon session at 4 o'clock. August 18th, we will have an evening session at 7 o'clock. Those Zoom links were sent out today. Those are also on the website. Our faculty, our staff discussion forum will be held on August 19th at 10 a.m. And then I will also be asking the principals to set up smaller group discussions with their individual faculty and staff within their building at a date after that as well. I think that is all I have, Ms. Ryan.
Great, thank you. Nicely done, thank you. I went out of order, sorry. So I'm just gonna ask for a motion for 2A, B, and C, and routine approvals of the minutes, the warrants, wire, budget transfer, and treasurer's report.
Motion.
Second.
By Vince, second by Steve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So motion carries
Again,
unanimously.
One-
And then,
Cynthia,
I'm sorry.
the parent meetings that you're having on August 17th and the 18th, the 3 of them,
Yes.
are they going to all be the same? So do the parents have to show up all 3 or just one?
That's a great question. I'm just thinking about that now. So the structure will be the same,
Okay.
but you never know what would come up at a
Right, but it's
different.
going to be the same format. It's
Yeah.
basically the same. So the parents just have to come to one.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
good question. Public comments, I'm gonna let Joanne or Dr. Siniak handle the emails we got, and then I'm gonna discuss one that I received. Sorry, I'm at work. I'm gonna talk about one that I received this afternoon. So if you want to talk about the other ones that you received prior to today.
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. We did receive, I believe, a total of 6 correspondences from parents. I did call each of these parents individually over the last 2 days and review all the questions with them personally on the phone, but I did tell them that they will also be read out loud in public and the answers will also be shared. So from the first correspondence, in a class of 25, how will children maintain social distance in the classroom? As per the guidelines, our desks will be 4 feet apart with barriers and/or partitions placed on each of the desks, and masks will be worn by students to the extent practicable. And what we're talking about with that is medical conditions and understanding the age of children and needing to work with them and be patient with them as well. Question number 2, how will the school plan for and assess the academic gap from March until June 2020? Upon arrival in the beginning of school, our students will be internally benchmarked. They will also participate in our NWEA exams. We also did a curriculum audit during the COVID months. What does that mean? What we did was we looked at the actual concepts and topics in each of our grades and subject areas from March and through June, and we pulled out the most pertinent ones, which what we had done with them was then reinsert them into each of the following year's curriculum. Where would they fit? Where can we expand upon them to ensure that the scaffolding of skills and concepts can continue for our students? Next question, will students be expected to have masks on all the time? I think I've addressed that, yes, to the extent practicable, but mask breaks will be given, and students will be able, when social distance, to take that mask off, whether it be outside or if they are in another setting. What are the district's contingency plans if infection is detected in the school building? As I stated in my opening statements, we will defer to the Department of Health. The Department of Health has set up actual hotlines for superintendents and school principals and nurses to contact, and then they will guide us through the tracing and the procedures that must be followed. And if areas need to be shut down for a period of time, they will guide us through that as well. Next question, if we opt in for remote instruction, how will it be structured? There will be a live teacher with a more of a stringent schedule, touching upon and teaching all subjects, ELA, math, science, and/or social studies on alternate days. Next question, how often will mental health curriculum be fused into the school day? We're starting an initiative this year with morning meetings where all students in all classes, whether they be virtually or in person, will sit with their teacher, and there will be a positive message for the day and an opportunity for students to share any experiences that they may have or any nervousness that they may be experiencing. And we are also reliant on our mental health teams in each of the buildings and the surveys that have been provided to accommodate our students that will need that. Who will be in charge of collecting data from other districts in order to better inform the decisions of the Board of Education? That would be most likely my job. I do speak with the component superintendents probably 2 or 3 times a day. My team, my deputy superintendent and my assistant superintendents meet with their counterparts in the component districts, and we all attend our county-wide meetings. And I share that information that is given to me from my team and information that I gather and acquire from the surrounding superintendents with the Board of Education on a regular basis. Will the school be able to obtain the special air filters that filter out, similar to what the malls had to install? Our MERV 13 filters are currently being installed in our univents throughout the buildings. Should we opt to send our children in the beginning of the year, are we able to switch to full remote mid-semester and vice versa? The component districts are using 10 weeks as a guide, but we will work with all families individually to meet the needs and accommodate to the best of our ability. Next, second correspondence. With all of the data and evidence that shows that children under the age of 10 do not readily spread the virus, how strictly will the all-day mask mandates be enforced on kindergarten, first and second grade? The masks offer a second layer of protection, extra precaution, and are when the studies are saying one of the most important things that will protect everyone. We will work with our younger children to ensure that they are able to have those mask breaks as needed, and we will work with parents and administration to have the same message, so to speak. CDC guidance suggests mask usage where social distancing is not possible. So if students' desks will be separated and also have plastic shields installed on 3 sides, why must they also wear a mask while sitting at their desk? Well, as per the New York State Education Department reopening guidance, masks provide that extra precautionary measure for students and staff. If there is recess, will children be permitted to play with each other? Available research and data shows that if this occurs outside, it is very low risk. We are encouraging outside activities as weather permitting. Does the district have a fixed objective marker for determining when masks and other distancing measures will no longer be necessary? We will be following the governor's orders, the Department of Health, the New York State Education Department. We are constantly awaiting updates and we plan accordingly. Is there a chance that distancing measures will be reevaluated before classes resume after the holiday break? Is there any chance it can be sooner? If all outside metrics indicate that it is safe, or would January 2021 be the earliest possible time these measures would be relaxed? We are constantly reevaluating, but we are always following the guidance that is provided to us and the mandates and the governor's orders. The third correspondence. As a first responder who didn't sign up to be exposed to COVID-19, I showed up to work every day because my responsibilities to the public outweighed my fears. My daughter will be entering first grade this September. How am I supposed to be at home for Zoom classroom and be at work at the same time? In speaking with this parent over the phone, I did share that we are anticipating and planning for a full opening. The fourth correspondence is about the Belmore Merrick Child Care Program and was written before Miss June Smith and her staff began making phone calls yesterday and today about pushing to provide a full program. In calling this parent, very happy to hear that, and it appreciates the Board of Education and the support for parents and including working parents. Next. In regards to the virtual stay-at-home option, my questions are as follows. Will parents receive a curriculum from the school that they must make lesson plans for, or will the school be providing lessons and/or virtual teaching? The school will be providing the virtual teaching. It will be an equitable program, and we are in the process of finalizing the full day schedule for that. Will my children be placed in a class in school and be counted as one of their students? For reporting purposes to the New York State Education Department, we must roster our students because attendance is a requirement, and we will have those spots, and every child whose parent has chosen this option rostered in an in-class, in-school list. Next, say we are able to receive a vaccination in the future. Can my children return to their class that they are placed in? I do not wish them to stay out of the school building any longer than is absolutely necessary. As I stated earlier, yes, we will work with parents to the best of our ability, and after 10 weeks, a parent can very easily transition their child back into the school, or there are parents who are asking if after 10 weeks they want their child to be home. We will also accommodate that. Both of my children receive support services. Will we receive them virtually as we did when schools were closed down in March? And if you are using the virtual option, the answer would be yes. Can my children still be a part of school activities if there's a back to school picnic or picture day? And the answer is yes. Our last correspondence. How will you be socially distancing if the entire school will be in attendance? Again, 4 feet between desks, barriers, and masks. What does a mask break look like? The child will be seated and behind their partition, and the mask will be taken off if they are obviously less than 6 feet from the person next to them. What happens when a child can't keep his or her mask on and can't stay in his seat? Our staff is very compassionate with working with our students. We had our extended school year program, which is ending this Friday here all summer. And it worked out very well, and we made accommodations as needed. How will the kindergartners see their teachers' faces when learning to read? We've ordered the masks with the clear center so that a child can see their teacher's lips smooth. How many cases will it take to shut the class down or the school? A class would be 1 case, and again, we're cohorting our students, and the Department of Health would then give us guidance if the school would need to be shut down based on the tracing process that they would move forward with. How will fire drills and other drills be conducted? Yes, they will be conducted, and students will be wearing masks as they move through the hallways, and there may be new routes to the plan. If the school gets shut down because of too many cases, what will the transition to remote learning look like? As stated in our plan and working with our teachers, when students arrive to school in September and do the full in-person, teachers will be training our students for this transition to remote learning if and when it needs to happen. According to some people, remote learning in the fall left a lot to be desired. What will be different if we need to move to all remote? The schedule will look very different, and we are making it an AM, PM, and we will have the opportunity for our teachers to conduct lessons in all of the subject areas. It'll be much more similar to a regular school day in person. Your plan says that high-touch surfaces will be cleaned frequently throughout the day. How will this happen? Well, our custodians will be cleaning doorknobs and walking around the building, cleaning the walls, because as we know, children have a habit of having their hand graze across a wall when walking in a hallway. Will you be utilizing outside space to teach classes? We will bring the students outside whenever possible. The students have to wear masks even though they will be behind a plastic partition. Yes, to the extent practicable. Will there be before care? Will there be after care? As I stated earlier, we are moving in the direction of having a full program while keeping the students cohorted. If we do not have a device that our child can use at home, will we receive a device, and when will we receive the device? Right before the opening of school, we will be providing devices to those families and staff that may request one, and we will put a survey out to gather that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stiniak. You know, I would like to just thank you for answering all these questions. I think it's very important that the parents, you know, please continue to contact us. This is a fluid situation. Things are going to change day to day. So please continue to send the board, Dr. Stiniak, any of your questions. I'm confident that a lot of information and a lot of your questions will be answered next week at the 3 parent meetings. But again, just please, we are here to alleviate any of your concerns, and we want to make this as smooth as we can transition to go back in September. So I got I received one correspondence that was my fault. I didn't have a chance to send over to Dr. Stiniak today. I received it this afternoon from Ms. Hallie Herman. The question is, I want to ask a question for tonight's board meeting during the public comment section, if I may, regarding agenda item 5U. On August 3rd, 2020, the school board convenes a meeting to discuss and complete an executive session, our district superintendent's annual review. On tonight's agenda, business item 5, line U, reads, quote, the Board of Education approves the following. Be it resolved that the board president is authorized to execute an amendment dated August 11th, 2020 to the June 14th, 2016 employment agreement with Dr. Cynthia Stiniak, Superintendent of Schools, as detailed in the mailing. Can you please share with the public what that amendment includes, and does it include items such as a contract extension, raise, or any other benefits? Thank you for entertaining my question. Please stay well and safe, Hallie Herman. So I was going to mention this. We're going to address it, and we will continue. I'm going to put forth a consent agenda for consent motion, for 5A through T. And we are going to take a discussion on the motion for you. But in response to Ms. Herman, yes, so the board did have a publicly noticed special exec session meeting last week in order to comply with our contract requirements to provide Dr. Stiniak, our superintendent, with her evaluation, the yearly one, the annual one. It should have been done, you know, a little while ago, but due to all of our other issues and planning, we told Dr. Stiniak that we were going to be a little bit delayed with it, and she understood. Dr. Stiniak did advise the board months ago that she was going to take a freeze and defer her wage freeze for the upcoming school year, which she did. That already occurred, and so we have to open up her contract for her to accept the wage freeze by doing a simple document, which the board has done many times over the years, an MOU, but we need board approval to do so. While the board met without Dr. Stiniak last week in executive session to discuss the evaluation and to complete it, which it was completed that week, the board discussed, because we were very pleased with her performance, and her evaluation, I think, reflects that. And the board decided to put forth a resolution tonight, which not only it allows us to execute an amendment to the contract, giving her the wage freeze deferment to next July, but also extending her contract an extra year, an additional year, with no additional raises for that year, but that it is a time extension for 1 year. And there will be more discussion on that from the board when we do resolution 5, when we put forth resolution 5U. So I hope that, I think that's a thorough synopsis, and I hope it's in response to your question, Ms. Herman. And thank you for contacting us. As always, we do a quick turnaround when you email us, or we try to get you your information right away. But we were providing this to the board tonight, and I think it also provides some stability going forward with the district. And we can have the other board members weigh in on that. So I think that wraps up public comment. Thank you so much for I know it's not easy to participate this way, and I anticipate hopefully next month, again, we're following the governor's executive order 202.55 that we will, and that expires September 4th. So we'll know September 4th how we will be conducting our September meeting, and hopefully we'll all be in the GPR listening to you tell us your public comments. So on that note, I'd like to end public comment, move on to business, and like I mentioned before, I would like to move motion 5A for approval, 5A through 5T, and take out 5U. So if I could have a motion, Vincent, second by Michelle, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that's unanimous. So the motion carries. And I am going to read you, just for the record, it's the Board of Education approves the following. Be it resolved that the board president is authorized to execute an amendment dated August 11th, 2020 to the June 14th, 2016 employment agreement with Dr. Cynthia Siniak, Superintendent of Schools, as detailed in the mailing. And I'd like to put the motion forward. So if I have a motion forward.
Second.
Vincent, and
Almost.
call for a second before discussion.
Second.
I think it was Tracy, and I'd like to call for discussion on the motion before approval. If anyone has anything to discuss, any board members have anything to add?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. It's Rob. So there's no extension of salary? There's no raise built into there?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and it's just, like I said, I think I've been on the board a year, and this has come up almost 2 or 3 times already. So can we put something in there, say we're not going to revisit it until 2022?
I don't think I'm able to do so, just because next year we could have other board members on. So I don't know if I can I don't know if I could tell the board that they're not allowed to take action. Neil, I'll defer to you. I don't know if we're allowed, if this board can.
That is correct analysis. That is correct.
Yeah, I just
All right.
thanks, Neil. I just think at these times of everything, what's going on, it's just hard for me to vote yes on. It's not even a compensation thing, more of just an extension thing. So when we're going to go back, talk to the teachers, and we're going to talk to the administrators, on maybe, reducing salaries and stuff like that. I think it's just hard to vote yes on this for me, but that's just my opinion.
Rob, I wish you would have been here for the executive session when we all discussed this in length.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I was on vacation and I couldn't be there.
I'm just going to take it over. I'm sorry.
And I'm sure I read Michelle, I read the evaluation. I know what it is. So you really don't have to explain it to me.
Well, nonetheless, I can honestly say thank you personally to Dr. Siniak for your utmost care and attention to our school district and our children during this unprecedented time. I know that we're all probably tired of hearing the word unprecedented. I know that you are the only superintendent who is physically in this building every single day, taking care of business and making sure that our buildings are intact and our guidelines and everything put forth is being adhered to legally, and taking strides in making sure the safety precautions that are taken were done first and foremost. That's why we're anticipating that there are partitions to be in when other school districts might be waiting and delayed opening because theirs won't be. I know our schools ordered electrostatic foggers for sanitation and disinfectant purposes, which I hope San Carter will go into later, and I hope he has one to show and demonstrate. So when I give my word to public and people I speak to about the precautions that our school district is taking, that is under the leadership of our superintendent. So I, again, personally, on behalf of all of us, I think that we all agreed unanimously that this was the right decision and the right direction for North Merrick to go in.
And again, Cynthia, don't take it personally. You know, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate that, and the community does as well. It's just I don't believe in contracts myself, being an at-will employee myself my whole life, and I just don't think it's the right time to do an extension. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion, or can we bring it to a vote? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Robert? And that's motion carries. Motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we need an approval for 6A, the PAR. A motion to approve personal action. Seconded? Second? Anyone? Vincent. Okay, Vince, you're muted. Vincent. All in favor?
The button fast enough, sorry.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, so the motion carries unanimously. It's like I'm at an auction here. All right, policy. This is the first and final read, as I was advised by the lovely Miss Joanne Long. So the Board of Education approves the following resolution. Whereas the North Merrick Union Free School District Policy number 9310, adoption of policies, contains the Board of Education procedures for the adoption, change, and repeal of district policies. And whereas the Board of Education has determined that it is necessary to create board policy number 4528, acceptable use for remote learning at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education waives policy 9310 with respect to the requirements related to the first reading of the policy and the sequence of adoption of policies in relation to policy number 4528, acceptable use of remote learning. Do we have a motion to approve this?
Motion.
Michelle? Yes,
Second.
thank you.
Second.
Who's seconded, just for Joanne for the minutes?
I thought I did.
Oh, Tracy, you got it. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. So the motion carries unanimously. And if we could have a motion for 8A, Special Services, the Board of Education approves the 28 IEPs, which were developed by the North Merrick Committee on Special Education as detailed on the mailing. If I could have a motion for 8A. Michelle?
Motion.
Seconded by Tracy. All in favor? Aye. No one's opposed. Okay, great. So that carries. I believe we did all the notifications. We cleared that up. We're all up to date. Okay. Unfinished business.
There was none from last time.
Okay. And new business.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. You skipped over real quick. I don't think it's new, but maybe it is. Can we just open up the conversation about high school for a moment? I know that usually we just give reports on our high school district. However, Tracy and Ed, who unfortunately is not able to be here tonight, you are representatives. And with everything else going on, I would hope that maybe moving forward, we could have either like the agenda ahead of time and as a board down here, have discussions or questions or comments being open to all of us as a board. That way, if you're our voice of North Merrick, we have weighed in on one way or another. I just wanted to kind of bring that up and see how everybody else felt about that.
I'm sorry, Michelle.
We have questions, we can go to the board.
I go to the board meetings, but now it's beforehand. So if they go to a vote like delayed opening for 2 weeks, I wish I would have known, or that was on the table, or if Ed and Tracy knew how either we felt as a unit going up there being our representatives, or, again, there's so many uncertain things going on and everything is changing by the day. I just feel that I want to be in the loop about it and be able to offer our opinion as the unit.
Do you want
Do
the
we-
agenda? before.
Do we have,
For the meeting on the Wednesday
Well,
before.
I'm sure they get the
No,
agenda.
I'm just, that's.
No,
what you
no,
want.
100%,
Right,
yes.
okay.
I mean, I
Do
know
we
you
have-
are interested in going up on the high
No,
school,
I don't-
so it's something, if
you
you
want-
had an opinion
I
that
don't
you
know
wanted.
if they can send it to us though, because they get
do we
it
have,
Friday before.
do we have a voice in how they vote? Or are
Right,
they just
that's,
vote
I
on
guess,
their
my
own?
point. I think that I want to at least
Oh, at
be
least
heard
voice our
on,
opinions, right?
from
That's
this.
what you want.
Yeah, I think we should all deserve that.
But in the end, they get to vote however they want to vote, right?
Well, what she's
Neil?
saying, Rob, is she wants us to give our opinions to the things so then they know how we feel.
Even if
Yeah,
they vote
yeah.
the way they want to vote, at least
Right,
I
at
think
least
express
they know.
bring
So-
North Merrick's opinion. up.
Correct. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, we already do that. I mean, we certainly bring the concerns of North Merrick to the high school. We don't just, you know, I'm not really sure what you're asking, because we do that, you know, but what I'm trying to figure out is like what you mean, like, would you want to vote on something like whether or not the parking lot, you know, like things like that, or are you just talking specifically about that reopening plan?
No, I think what she's trying to say, Tracy, is she doesn't want us.
Steve, can you
tell
move
how to
forward?
vote.
I can't hear
She
you.
wants to know- She wants you to know how we all feel down here. That's all. Not that we're trying to influence and tell you how to vote. Just-
No, I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying,
and
like,
Steve,
again,
move
I think
forward,
that
because I can't hear you.
it's much different down here on the elementary level than it is on the high school level. So there's been many conversations, again, with this whole reopening or everything else. How are kids going to be maneuvering in the hallways? How is this? Or, you know, is the cafeteria open? And I think as a unit, perhaps we can discuss, since we've had board members who have had students in these buildings and know the schedule, to say like, oh, maybe we can offer an idea or feedback from your friends and families that already know, to say, oh, are we doing this? Or did we think about that? Just to make sure that we're all covered. And I do think that it's important for all 7 of us to kind of discuss some of these issues since this is a home unit and 2 people go up to the high school. Maybe not just on those topics, but, you know, I mean, I'm not
In general,
trying to
yeah.
insult anybody. I just, Steve basically said it. I think that we all just want to be heard and make sure that any concerns we have are just relayed up there as well.
And Neil, can you just clarify on the whether, you know, they get to vote just the way they want to vote, or it's an
You know,
opinion?
the North Merrick board cannot vote, you know, on behalf of the Central High School District. You know, no, they cast the vote. I don't think that's being asked. I think it's just what's being asked is to have dialogue regarding issues that are before the high school that may impact North Merrick students who attend the high school. And but certainly the final decision on voting is cast by the Board of Education at the Central High School District.
Thank you.
Tracy, is the agenda still mailed to you guys the Friday before the meeting on Wednesday? So logistically, that's what she wants. Michelle's trying to say she wants the agenda so we could, but even at that point, it's too, when can we have a conversation about it? Michelle, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not entirely sure. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Right, no, that's, I'm just trying to think logistically how could it be done, if it could be done.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they
if that's
get it on
something-
Friday before the Wednesday meeting, we meet the following Tuesday. So it would have to be that week, the agenda would have to be sent. And I don't know if they're going to want to send it to all of us, because then North and Belmore is going to ask, then North Merrick's going to ask.
Well,
then
isn't
Merrick-
that the way a board should work? If we're sending 2 people up to a high school level to be a
I don't
voice
know.
of
I'm
North
just
America, I
playing
feel
devil's advocate
no,
here. I don't know,
100%.
you know?
I'm just
Right.
stating the other side of that,
Right.
saying like, I don't know, maybe there'd be half the population. I mean, I know that there's so many other concerning, pending, things going on right now at the moment, and I don't need to waste this much time on it. I just wanted to put that out there.
So
And-
I think maybe the best solution is if you are concerned about something and you want to chime in and give Tracy and Ed your input, maybe we just contact them and reach out to them as individuals and say, this is my opinion on this. Maybe it'll help you up
Right,
there.
but I'm
I
not
think
finding
what
out
she's saying is she doesn't know about some of the concerns until after it's done. I think that's what she's saying, and I think she could speak for herself, but I think, that she doesn't know about the concerns, like, for example, what they voted on last week. If that's, I don't know if that.
All right, but if you
No,
like, if
but
you have
your point,
concerns
then it's
about
too late.
the opening and the way things are going to run, because we know that this in discussion, we know these things are going on, and you have those concerns, then maybe reach out. That's my opinion.
Okay, but I also don't see high school on here or anything as an update, so I didn't know, like, had that been discussed? And I mean, because I have a child going into, 8th grade, so I definitely am very interested in the correspondence. Honestly, hasn't been really as good as our correspondence from, the principal on that level. So I'm very confused. And not that I can't handle that on a personal level and call the school and figure it out for myself, but I'm not the only one. So I just wanted to know, like, what was going on. Are we having a delayed opening? Is it only 2 weeks? Are we moving forward? Will we think after that?
Okay, so it all is in the FAQ that Di Tommaso had sent out to everyone. They are having what you would call a soft opening. The schools are way bigger, and so they are really looking at adjusting the students and the teachers, because everyone's voice needed to be heard, not just parents. Students and teachers were all taken into consideration, because it's a big population, and I think they just want to be really cautious about it. I'm sorry, Michelle, I wish I had known, but like what I'm just still trying to figure out, like, what it was that you wanted.
I'm just trying to bring it up.
I didn't really make the plan. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, my
well, in other words, Tracy, so let's take that. So
Yeah.
for instance, you and I, we are going to agree to disagree on maybe opening even on the elementary level. Perhaps where you are, and I fully respect that. You had stated earlier, obviously you're in a different position, and you perhaps might want a slower and a scaled opening, where I would prefer to open and 100%. So if that's the case at the high school, I also would prefer to open. But I would feel that perhaps I would have wanted to say that prior to the high school. And again, I'm not going to tell you and Ed how to vote, but at least you could have heard the 6 of us and perhaps how we all felt, and just express how that is and weigh that into the equation. You know what I mean?
I mean, let's hope we never have to vote or debate on this again. But I mean, certainly we could have these discussions as well. But remember, Ed and I are only 2 people on an 8-person board.
Yes, but you're my board.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
About it.
Okay, good. I'll move on. I think.
Okay.
I just go on here.
Okay. Yeah, I actually do have stuff to report for the high school. So if we can slide that in.
Let's go.
I want to say a few things.
Before you begin, I think I actually forgot to list report of committees. So we're going to have to make a motion to list report of committees, and then we could add what Tracy has to share about the high school. Anybody hear that?
Okay, I'll make a motion to add committees.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
You want me to start with high school?
Yes.
Or are we somewhere else on the agenda?
We just added it in. We're right under new business.
Okay, so, I also want to stress that things change day to day. And just like Dr. Seniak had said, they anticipate starting with a hybrid opening and transitioning to fully in person within 2 weeks. But of course, everything has to make sure it is complying with guidelines of the New York State Department of Health and the CDC. So I urge you to look at the FAQ from the high school district, because it is very informative. I know the districts have, the high school district and the components have really worked hard to do things together. And I commend them for doing that. I think it's very important. On a much happier note, the high school district got $150,000 in CARE money from the first stimulus bill, but also one of our seniors at Kennedy High School, her name is Catherine St. George. She won the Regeneron she was a finalist in the Regeneron Scholarship, and she won an $80,000 scholarship for her work in, I believe it had to do with ameliorating the effects of caffeine in something. But just stupendous work from this young lady. So we should be very proud of our district. So that was really all I wanted to say. Thank you, Joanne, for putting that on for me.
Thank you. If there's a PTA council, I don't know if there was a meeting. Anyone have anything to share? No.
No, we'll have our first meeting before school begins.
Thank you.
And it'll be virtual.
And the only other thing that would be listed there is buildings and grounds. I don't know if there's a report to be shared tonight from buildings and grounds.
Mr. Carter can give us
Yeah.
an update.
Yeah, I'll give you an update.
Oh.
You know, just because 2020 doesn't stop giving, we had to deal with some storm cleanup. Tree removal is ongoing. Site lighting is down at Old Mill and at Fayette. PSE&G jumped on it to make sure it was safe, but it has not been repaired. But in the grand scheme of things, that wasn't really a big deal. I just want to give you an update on where we are with shields. The desk shields are to be delivered by August 28th. We're anticipating the delivery of new desks the 28th or the 31st. It's either Friday or Monday, not 100% sure yet. We are waiting for the overseas containers where we will store excess furnishings that we won't be able to use this coming school year. PPE, you know, personal protective equipment, is always ongoing. Shields, masks, gowns, gloves, they're like a commodity type of thing right now. Prices and also availability. It's pretty crazy how the prices go up and down, and we're in a constant ordering process for that. The custodial staff is sorting out classrooms and getting the layouts situated, and we're working with principals and admin to figure out the numbers of each class, because it's not concrete, especially with some children opting out. We have ordered MERV 13 filters for all of the district equipment, HVAC equipment. That's the recommended. The governor's office throttled back a little on the HEPA, realizing that it was impossible to retrofit mechanical units with HEPA filtration systems, but they suggested MERV 11 or MERV 13, and we're going with the more stringent of those two with the MERV 13. Our maintenance guys are building custom sneeze guards throughout the district for clerical staff, health offices, and where the screeners will be. They're using the Lexan, which has been approved by the state education department as part of their building guidance. They're also installing AC units, which is a normal thing we do this time of year. We're doing AC units for the 504s and IEPs for students and staff who need them. We were working on signage. We're doing a lot of printouts because we've gotten a ton of printable artwork from, or not artwork, but signage from CDC and the Department of Health, and we'll laminate them in-house, which will save a ton of money. And then we can, you know, we can post them wherever we need them. We'll also be using tape and decals, a combination of tape and decals for social distancing and reminders and all that kind of the signage you typically see throughout buildings. The sprayers and foggers that Ms. Gordon mentioned earlier, we've got 6 sprayers that are a backpack sprayer, very large ones, like you would almost see a landscaper doing an insecticide with, but it is designed for disinfectants. We also have a smaller sprayer, which is more of a mister, and it looks like a Camelback that you see athletes wearing or soldiers. It's got a small bladder in the back that holds the whatever chemical you want to dispatch, and those are not only ergonomically comfortable, but they're easy to walk around with and keep on. It's not a big deal to have one on and to use it throughout the day. We are waiting on the electrostatic sprayers. They are still delayed because everybody on earth is ordering them. We've got a bunch of those coming, and I'm in constant contact with the vendor. And, you know, like everybody has said who's spoken tonight, every day's a new day. Things change on an hourly basis. the admin is doing an amazing job on keeping abreast of these developments, allaying people's fears, working with teaching staff and faculty, and it's an amazing thing to watch what's going on right now, because it's not easy, and it's very taxing, but it's getting done, and I think we're in a very good place, all things considered.
Thanks, Sam. Quick question. You mentioned, I know you're putting in the ACs per, the 504 and the IEPs. Do you know how many per building you have?
New ones or existing?
Either. Total, it doesn't.
No, I mean, I would have to give you a classroom count. There are many that we don't remove at 2 schools, and then there are many that get moved from room to room as Camp Avenue. We have power issues, so we can't just keep adding them. We have to actually remove one.
More if it would help with the ventilation and AC in the building.
Well, I'm sorry, Trustee Crowley, could you put yourself on mute?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, could you mute your microphone? We're hearing what.
You did.
So the air conditionings we use, they don't necessarily ventilate the space; they cool the space. The ventilation is performed by the unit ventilators, which every classroom has. So we don't rely on the air conditioning units for ventilation. We rely on the unit ventilators for that. And the only responsibility of the air conditioner is to cool the air that's in the space.
Right, but the ventilators will be able to ventilate cooler air, no?
The ventilators will recirculate about 66% air, and then minimum bring in about 33% outside air. And we have the ability to adjust that through a building management system to increase the ventilation. It's a fine line, though, because on a 99-degree day or a 95-degree day, you're bringing in that 95-degree air, which taxes the air conditioners. Okay. So we do have the ability to ramp up the ventilation, and we also have the ability to open windows. But, the more hot air you're bringing in this time of year, or, early September and, later in like May and June, the harder the air conditioner works. But, yeah, as far as ventilation, we're in a really, really good place with ventilation systems. The bond issue we just did address ventilation throughout the district, and we're really lucky that we have that in place versus 5 years ago. If this had happened 5 years ago, we would be in a real pickle.
Sam, I just want to say thank you. I know you and your staff will keep our kids and the faculty safe. And
thank you, Mr. Lentini.
I wouldn't want my kids going to any other school with any other guy in charge of that.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, I echo that as well, Sam. Just tell you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll pass along the kind words.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Thank you. Dr. Siniak, do you have any other business for tonight?
No, nothing.
Great.
Thank you.
And does the board have anything else they'd like to discuss, put forward this evening? I can't hear you, Steve. You're muted.
That's a good thing.
Forget it.
Good. On that note, I hope to see everyone August 17th at 10 a.m. for our first parent meeting. Looking forward to that. Keep those questions coming. It's good. Dr. Siniak, thank you, and Ms. Long for all of your, and Ms. Friedman, but specifically for your hard work in getting the information out in regards to the correspondence. The board appreciates it. And on that note, I would like to thank everyone for their time tonight. And at 8:03, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
By Michelle, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, guys. Stay well. Have a good night.
Thank you. Stay well.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Stay well.